I want you guys to fill in the blanks. It's like Mad Libs. Yes. Coffee break is back again. Yes, back again. Yes, yes. Hello, hello, well, hello, hello to the 5.5 people who are watching this tonight. I'm sure there's other things going on tonight. I'm sure there's basketball going on tonight. There's probably chicken tonight. It's hard to keep people's attention these days, you guys, so I'll take what I can get. Welcome to Coffee Break with JN, where I am your humble host, Jamar Nicholas. DBA, Philadelphia's favorite son, aka one half of the world famous Bodega Voltron. Mike's not here, but also I'm number one in your heart. So welcome to Coffee Break with Jay. And you guys, I have. Is this the? Did we? Is this the first time you guys are seeing this? Now a new feature on StreamYard is the John right here, where you can kind of see the scroll. The scroll. It's kind of like Baby Guitar Hero scroll. There's not that much scrolling going on. So uh, I I don't know if I like this yet. It's so small. Pause. It's so small. I can hardly see it. But I had this running on Pencil to Pencil last night, and I turned it off because it was just kind of like hitting Manly in the side of the head. So I was just like, this is hard to navigate. Actually, JRD, it debuted on Ashy Street last weekend. But you guys have to tell me what you think. One of the cool things about it, if people are watching in different places, because as we know, Coffee Break with JN is brought to you. It is powered by StreamYard. They should be giving me a sponsorship. Powered by StreamYard. But I paid it. I don't need to have that on the screen, so let's get that out of here. And what's been cool about them over the time I've been um, going through them is that they continue to add things to it. Um, and so one of the new things is this kind of like online thing, this little scroll box. So because we stream in different places, so we stream live on my personal Facebook page. If you're friends with me on Facebook, this is probably something that you go, oh, he's on live again, and like not look. Or you go, oh, he's on live again, and you jump over here to YouTube. And also the Pencil to Pencil Facebook page. So we're streaming in 3 different places. I thought about streaming to Twitch. I have a Twitch account. It's very barren. If anybody, I should just ask Conley because he knows how that stuff works. I would love to move to Twitch because it seems like that's where the audience is, and I feel like you pay a price here. Even the way YouTube algorithms, I'm not exactly sure how this works, but when our live is finished, it categorizes this live in a different column on our YouTube channel, which it says live. So if you just went to the Pencil to Pencil channel, you wouldn't see this. You'd have to like dig in. So I think there's a different set of optics when you record this and then put it on YouTube versus it being a replay of a live event. So, and Twitch is just kind of seems more naturally set up for that. So let's see what's going on. Jarvis, give me the coordinate. That's a really bad Tony start. So I'm a little, guys, I'm a little off center today. There's a lot going on as always, and I'm a little, I dare to say it, over caffeinated. A neighbor was trying to test out the cappuccino maker. I was just like, Jamar, come over for a cappuccino. I can't say no to a cappuccino. So I went over there, and I'm kind of like, like doing the dance, and that was earlier in the day, and I was just like, man, is this gonna catch up to me tonight for coffee break? And, you know, I gotta do. I gotta. There's legit coffee in my mug, so I gotta do it. So if my energy's weird, it's because I have too much coffee, and I need to. I actually have a water here. I'm trying to like cut this a little bit. So yeah. No, no, notorious. JRD says, I've seen stories recently that Twitch is having issues. Streamers are leaving because Bezosville is trying to strong arm the users to make them. Oh, come on, man. I mean, real rap. Like some of you guys have heard me talking about leaving StreamYard because it's too expensive. Like I had to cut some options out of this because like I just like I do a lot with this stuff, but it was, and maybe this is kind of like the end of COVID when things were like, hey, everybody's home. Hey, I have this thing. Hey, this thing is great. Hey, $20. Yeah, I got $20. Now it is not $20. So it's making people have to like make better options. Oh man. What up, Matt? Shout out to the Waringo Dynasty, Matt, and lovely squeeze. Is Suze in the building? Matt says I'm under caffeinated. The water in RVA was contaminated this week. What? I didn't hear about that. What's going on? Yo, Dom, what up? Good to see you, bro. Good to see people coming home to roost. Happy to have you back on coffee break. Hello, what up, E? Good to see you. E says, can't read it on my phone, but it's fine on my TV. Is it nice and big on your TV, E? Well, I didn't get to it, but what I was going to say is that I think having the crawl on the screen lets people who are on Facebook and YouTube see each other's comments. But somebody even said to me today, hey, what's the best way to watch this stuff? You know, it's like I see it on Facebook and then I just like type a thing and it's just like, there's nobody else there. Like, come to YouTube. So, sometimes I feel like it made sense to stream in a bunch of different places, but now I'm feeling like maybe I should just stream in one place. What do you guys think? Or tell me how you absorb this content. So yeah, this might be kind of like odd energy tonight, but just look at all these different changes. I've been making some slight modifications around here in the studio. Um, I'm surprised no one has commented on the screen behind my head. Yo, what up, Mark Manley? Shout out to the bull, Mark Manley. YouTube or doo-doo? I'll take YouTube. Thank you, sir. JRD says, Jane, look up Riverside FM. Might be a replacement for your StreamYard. Oh, okay. Does anybody else stream off of that? Sorry, guys. We're going to make it happen. Sometimes I really feel like I put this thing on my Facebook the other day, and it was I kind of talked about this last night on Pencil, which was a really good episode with our buddy Fabrice Sapolsky, who's making big moves out there in the comic book waters. His publishing imprint Fair Square Graphics doing stuff. And I had mentioned that I had put a post on my personal Facebook account the other day, which was a picture that I took in my old studio, my my old place, when I used to go do events or conventions or whatever appearances, conferences, and you get your credentials, you get your lanyard and your badge, and I used to save them. So I just kind of had this corner of my studio where I just hung all these things and kind of turned into I had almost like Mr. T's neck. I had so many of them, and I took a picture at one point because I was kind of proud of it. But whatever. And then it kind of came back up as a memory on Facebook. That was 2014, and it was like a lot. So I posted on my thing. I said to basically like to get to do anything, you got to do something first. And I was trying to be inspiring and just go, hey, look, like, being out into the world, being out in the world, when people Columbus you, that's what I like to say. Somebody walks by your table and comes back and goes, oh, hey, yo, you just existed. Now you exist because I saw you, and now you're a real person. And the thing that I see on your table, I guess it's the only thing you've ever done in your life because I don't know anything else about you. So it must be nice that you have this thing that you made. And then you say something like, hey, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And they go, really? So I'm not exactly sure if people expect you to show up at a table with everything you've ever made on your table, but I don't have the trunk space for that. But also, it's just kind of like the optics of the world make people not as I talk about the iceberg, you guys. I talk about the iceberg all the time. Is sometimes you got to let them know, you guys. Hey, not for nothing. This is what I've been doing, right? And then I think some people missed the message, and people started like sharing. Look, I've been to places too. Great. I'm glad that you're doing the thing. There are a lot of people out there that don't know that there are parts of the thing that you have to do, if that makes sense. And I started going into this a little bit on the stream last night, saying, I wish I could tell you that my career was having my tongue hanging out the side of my mouth and drawing a really cool shoelace. That is such a small part of this. But I used to say to anybody that would listen, especially depending on where you were in your career, and this doesn't have to be cartooning. It could account to whatever you were trying to do with your world. Um, Everybody has to start somewhere. When I first started out, my first professional comic book convention, I think, was SPX 1998. I wanted to go to SPX 1997, but I didn't hear about it until too late. So I was like, next, like Terrence Howard, next time, baby, with the silver Iron Man in the back. That's one of my favorite gifs because there was a next time, baby. That's what I think is really funny about that. So after I did that first one, I was like, oh man, this is great. I can't wait for the next one. And then I spent my year in between getting ready for the next one. If I kind of kept that mentality through my career, I'd just be that dude you see at SPX every year. I've not been to SPX in a long time. This isn't a knock on that show, but I'm saying there's a point where if you want to kind of like excite the electrons or something, you kind of have to make some moves. And I've gotten into trouble with people before who kind of misconstrue what I'm saying. But it's like it's great. You're on the thing, you're figuring it out. You know that there's shows. What are you going to go to? There's going to be a point where you need to get in your car and leave your city for the opportunity. San Diego Comic Con, guess what? It's in San Diego. Do you not live in San Diego? Right? That's a question you have to answer for yourself. My first time I went to San Diego Comic Con, because I think that the thing was different. It's different now. But back then, I said to myself, I need to go to Comic Con. And I wasn't there on some fan shit. I was there on like recon. My first time I went, I didn't set up. I don't even think I even knew the parameters to set up. I knew that there was some sort of like weird free grandfathered artist alley thing. And by then I knew my buddy Keith Knight was like all tied up in that. And also Keith Knight had a giant head of dreadlocks back then, like a Boston Fern. But I went on recon and I showed up and I on a couple of the days I had a suit on. Real rap. I wore a suit and I was on my business and I was just walking around trying to figure out how this works and how the networking was going and how you're setting up at this thing and blah blah blah. And I bought some business cards and I bought some copies of my thing and I'm just like, and I was already running the Indie Cred All Stars, so people knew who I was already. Like, oh shit, Jamar, what's up? You came to California? Yeah, I'm just, I'm on that thing. And they're like, oh, word, what's up? Sometimes they got to see your face. Sometimes you got to make a move. So, inside all of that, I did not say, hey, Jamar said you got to buy a ticket and go to San Diego Comic Con. I didn't say that. But you have to navigate this thing and kind of push this until you break it or you make it in. Fabrice last night on the podcast says he did what 30 something shows, or he's going to do like 30 something shows this year, and everybody was like, "What?" Yes, because that's what he has to do. So on top of running a comic book company and writing and drawing and doing his own stuff, he's also got to pack up the suitcase again and head out the door to the airport again. That's something you don't really hear about. But everybody loves to see my little Facebook story with the side of my profile. Tomorrow will be at a thing. Yes, because I got to be at the thing. If I didn't need to go to the things, I wouldn't go to the things, but I have to go to the things. There are some people that don't need to go to the things. Unfortunately, my name isn't at a place where I don't need to go to things. They're not coming to me, I got to come to them. All right, let me kind of get off of this. Mark, and thanks for hearing all that. But I'm not finished. But this is part of my um, affirmations for you guys, right? Because again, going back to the iceberg thing, I think people just think this stuff just kind of happens, or I'm lucky, or stuff like that. There's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of work. You guys see me, I'm all over the place. Mark says the only platform I listen to things long form, like Dear John, Dear John. By the time you read this, John, I'll be gone. Yo, shout out to Judd Hirsch. It's on YouTube. I have a premium account so I can with YouTube running about. Yo, if I need to be a shill for YouTube, I pay for premium. I don't know if people be messing with commercials. I don't even watch television. I'm on YouTube all the time. I think it's worth it. Thank you, Mark. JRD says regarding what's on your table, after 11 years, I have 20 books and table spaces at a premium. Trying to think about what to do about that now. Yeah, it's a whole other thing. Yo, what up, D? It's always great seeing D. D, you're becoming a part of the JNN, Jamar Nicholas Network. Thank you so much for coming to all of our streams. D, I would love to hear what you think about uh, the programming. What do you think about Pencil to Pencil? What do you think about Coffee Break? And also, if you kind of look, I've been talking about this. If you look at Dee's avatar, uh, Dee Parson just did a walk-on appearance on in the Garfield strip, because that's what we do around here. We do things at high levels. So good on you, Dee. And you know what? I'm going to celebrate you, Dee. Now that I think about it, guys, first sip of the night for Dee Parson. Sip of coffee for Super D. Go read Rosebuds. When people talk about the plight of the newspaper page and comics in general, guys, comics been dying for what, 40 years? But we're still here, y'all. I mean, Super D got a syndication deal. Tahid's doing it. George Gant's doing it. Yo, we're out here. Please support the homies. Yeah, big sipper for D. You earn that bump. That's like my favorite part of The Wire. If you guys have seen The Wire, is for some reason I see way too many reels, and like I'm keyed in. I get a lot of Sopranos reels and some Wire reels. And my favorite part is when Snoop, the assassin girl, goes into the hardware store to buy a nail gun, and she's talking to the shop guy about kickback and recoil and all that and PSI, and she's just keeping up with him. And the guy's like, "Holy shit, she really knows her stuff." But he's talking about nail guns, but she's talking about doing something else with nail gun. Um, people came through. Oh, so Dom, good to see you. Dom asked a question in the chat. Let's try to let's turn this around. I think JRD just answered, but let me take a crack at it. Oh, and also I never finished this. So having this chat box over there lets the people who are Facebook see what the people in YouTube are saying. Dom says, I'm halfway through my book. I want a table for the first time, but wonder how many copies I should print to start with. I would first find out how many days is the show. Is it a 1 day show? Is it a 2 day show? Is it a 3 day show? With that information, I would assume that if it's a multi-day show, you need to bring enough that you can get through the weekend. If it's a 1 day show, I would be careful to not overdo it. Uh, let's say I feel like you can't go wrong with 25 of anything. If it's like, I don't know exactly what your finished product is. If it's like a graphic novel, it's got a different weight point than like floppies. Um, but yeah, bring what you think you can sell. I would just say that it's very rare that anybody's going to sell like 100 of anything on a given day at a comic book convention, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I would just watch your weight limit, bring what you think, and also at this point it doesn't really matter. It's all instructional learning. It's all information. If you bring 50 books and you sell 15, now you have information about what to bring for the next time. So bring enough that you're not like, oh shit, I don't have any more books. That's my answer. Hope that was good. So Jared D says, talking about my rant about hustling, there is a lot of hard work and it takes a while. Yes. I've been at this over 10 years and no one is handing me big contracts yet because I'm still proving my worth and hustle. Yo, respect. The Baroness has entered the chat. Hello, Dakota. Good to see you. Yo, Victor. Hello. What a great avatar. How are you, Victor? Yo, it's Victor. Victor the Slickster. I'm sorry, Matt. I hit you in the bread and butter. No commercials. I feel attacked. Yeah, I know. I can't deal with it. Dakota, I hope you're wearing gloves. Jared D says, I suggested 100 to Dom, assuming he would be tabling more than down the line of Sloan Wall. Well, I was just trying to answer the question about what he should bring to this thing. Like what you should have in stock or on hand depends on what you're going to do with them. Like when I first started out, and the super the super highway wasn't what it was now. Because back then the internet may have been a large truck, but now we know it is a series of tubes. Um, I didn't know hardly anything about distribution when I first started self-publishing, and I found a printer in Texas that knew how to print comic books, and I think his minimum was like 2,500 or something, and they all showed up at my apartment, and that's a lot of comic books. My girlfriend was just like, "What is this?" And then I had to figure out how that I climbed this really big hill on making a comic book. Now I made a comic book. Now I got to figure out how to get them out of here. So I would make as enough that you think you can move. Yeah, 100's great. That's a great space. If it's cost effective to get 250, get 250. You know what I'm saying? It's the more you do, the less scary this is. Joseph, hello. Joseph says, "Gee, I've been looking for the coffee break for over. I haven't had this feeling since the coffee signal hit the cloud layer. Diddle-diddle-ding. I love it. Good to see you, Joseph. D filled the screen. D says, I'll tell you this very much. There are 2 or 3 podcasts I actively listen to. Pencil to Pencil, Coffee Break, and Comic Lab. Yo, shout out to Brad Geiger and Dave Kellett. These 3 podcasts are what the world needs right now for both aspiring artists and cartoonists. Fabrice's appearance yesterday should be evident that there are a lot of conversations people are unaware of or too scared to talk about. And I say that because I've never seen Mr. Manley so speechless before on the show. You know you have something special there. That's wild. Thank you for that. I mean, that's just it, right? It's like, and I said in my little group chat with the other hosts, it's so important. Be nice, JRD. It's very important for you guys to all of us to. Oh, hey, Suze. Suze has blessed us. Suze has entered the chat. Ka-chunk. Welcome, Suze. We get to do our Suze post tonight. That, you know, you guys know me. I'm a sensitive Pisces, right? And there's a lot of stuff that I kind of sweat. Even though I'm no oh, Shogun's in the house. I call Shogun. I love that there's a lot of superstars showing up. Even though all of these hats I wear, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. I run down the hats that I wear, and there's more that you don't see. One that I don't really talk about that is kind of evident is like, and Steve Connolly is such a great help and such a great component to Pencil to Pencil. But I'm kind of producing the show. It's a different energy when, as you guys sometimes see, if we're doing like a sketch talk or something, I'm at my max cap, uh, where I can't really draw on screen and chat on screen and look at the chat and put things on the thing and figure out where Steve is and where Mike is and what I'm doing. That's kind of it, right? So, just to have just to have all of that happening, but also to have really great content. And I hate that word in the modern times that we live in, where people are getting something from it. right? People are getting something from it, and it's not just, we say it all the time. This isn't the neckbeard hour. I don't give a damn about how much Spider-Man can bench press. We don't talk about that stuff. I hate that. I don't like, you get it by this point. We're not fanboys, we're professional artists who draw this stuff for a living. And that's a whole different conversation. And when we get other people to shop talk, we shop talk. We talked about distribution for almost 2 hours. And the people that are in that chat want to be there, and they're keyed in, or maybe they, like Jared D was saying, maybe they don't. No, I'm sorry, D said, maybe they don't know about this, but that's why we're here, to let you guys know how this stuff works on the other side of the table. Again, Mark, uh, a really great show that we had not too long ago was Joe Murray, the owner of Captain Blue Hen Comics in lovely Newark, Delaware. Go Blue Hens! But also, he's the president of Comics Pro, the retailer association. Like almost all the comic book store owners belong to Comics Pro. He knows what he's talking about. When you're complaining about the price, the tea in China, and why the the price of this comic keeps rising, ask Joe Murray. Don't ask the dude who's on some other YouTube channel who's just complaining about why there's so many black people on the cover of this Marvel book. Don't ask them. Like, this is a source, and I think you guys understand that what we're doing has currency and it has value. All right, so you guys got me in here. I'm in my bag now. Y'all got jokes. But you see what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And that's another part where it's like, I know, like, they used to call comics funny books. And I think people kind of take that part of all of this to go, oh, well, this shit isn't really serious. Oh, whatever. It's just cartoon, right? You ask D Parson how much he sacrificed to get to where he is, and I'm sure he's got lots of stories for you. You know what I'm saying? So we take this stuff very seriously. It is my skill, trade, and lifestyle. When I do school visits and I tell these little kids, I don't have a job where I, like, work 9 to 5 and then I go home and watch Wheel of Fortune. Like, this is it. I'm in here like 19 hours a day, and then I come to your school and tell you to make good choices. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, y'all got me in my bag. Let's see what else is going on here. Jared D says, honestly, one night y'all should have those silly debates. The show would last 10 minutes and the audience would be sitting there for the rating 80 going, what is happening? Yeah, that's just not even in my thing. Sometimes when I go to the comic book store and, there's the regulars come in and they're talking to the shop owner and they're like, what? Bendis did that. You know what? I never turn around and go, well, actually, it's just like I don't want to yuck anybody else's yum. I'm not here to piss in anybody's cornflakes. You got to do for your fandom. But anyway, I'm just kind of weirdly defending what we do here, and I think it's necessary. And I thank you for being a part. Jared T says, I hope not 19 hours a day. You do get up and take breaks for you, but yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. You know how this goes. I just, sometimes in my sensitive Pisces ways, I feel like not defensive, but kind of defensive. Like, I gotta protect my position. Like, I gotta tell people, like I said at the beginning of the show, sometimes you gotta let people know. Right, Mark? Sometimes you gotta let them know. Sometimes you gotta say it louder for those people in the back. Because some people think this is jokey time. That we do all this stuff for our health. One of the biggest reasons that I think we do this stuff is because we're teachers too. Like I love the art form. I love the medium. I love all this stuff. I think somebody needs to document this stuff or chronicle it or talk about it or let people know what it's really like to be on this side of it. And who uh, no, I don't think I'm there anymore. I used to be like that. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, I used to have that. It was kind of like, I got to prove to you that this is a real thing. So that was part of me a long time ago. That's not me now. This is very real what I do. Maybe that's the graphic novel contracts or whatever, but people have something to see now. Like you always hear these stories about how nobody ever believed in the kid until he came back from Hollywood, with sunglasses on and a Puma. And they're like, "Oh, Martin, you made it. We're so proud of you." But sometimes people have to see something because they don't believe what you're telling them. Somebody else has to quantify it for them, and then it's real. Tell them, Suze, click that thumbs up. Yeah, and I appreciate that. And a lot of people just, I don't know. I know we have the same folks that come through. I love my caffeines. You know who are caffeines. I'm going to do it. You know who you are, caffeines. Where's the John? Ah, friends and regulars, not decaf, a coffee break. Hit the like button. Thank you. I was just thinking about the YouTube channel, and JRD knows because he's the keeper of the scrolls. Been doing coffee break for not coffee break. I'm sorry, pencil to pencil for like 5 years. We're still under 2,000 subscribers. Does it matter? Kind of not really, but at the same time, like, come on already. So adding that, just like look up, you see the thumb, like hit that, done. Didn't cost you anything. The more you guys do that, the more the robot overlords see that we're really doing something over here. Dare I say, subscribe to the channel. So all that stuff kind of helps in the long run. Dom says, see, I love it. Dom's asking questions. Have you ever pitched a book through online submission or only in person? No, I've done a lot of pitches. Dom, I feel like I need some more information. Wh- Pitch it. Okay, so pitch it like to whom? And what I'm asking you is, like, is this? You don't have to get into the nitty gritty of it, but it's like somebody's having some sort of open submission. If you have a thing, let me see it. Pause. And then you're pitching them something online or sending them a packet, or are you going to are you making a appointment at a publisher or at like somebody with somebody that can get you a deal and pitching them in person? I just think I need a little more information. Don't updo it. Don't do that. Don't do it, Shogun. And again, guys, I told you my energy was weird tonight, so don't take it personally. You know the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, which if you want to catch me on some nerd shit, I will talk about Marvel superheroes, the role playing game. Shout out to Phase Rip, fighting agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psych. You take your phase and you add all those up, and that is your health. You take the other three, RIP, and that becomes your karma. And that's why Wolverine doesn't has zero karma because he kills people. Oh, I miss I miss playing Marvel superheroes. You guys will know what I'm talking about. Back when TSR in the '80s uh, were doing Dungeons and Dragons, there were other role playing games that were happening at the same time. There was, and this is just TSR. Other people were doing role playing games, but they weren't as mainstream. D&D, Marvel Superheroes, Gamma World, which was kind of like their, I guess, that was kind of like the weirdo post-apocalyptic mutant thing. Star Frontiers, which is kind of like spacey Star Wars stuff. Top Secret came later, which was a spy game, which I tried to do and I failed horribly at. What else? Marvel. I think that was kind of it. I think there might have been some other things. That's right, the score, not the New Mutant. Shout out to my boy Brett Blevins. I just saw on Brett's Facebook. He was posting old commission sketches of the New Mutants. Dom says, "What does pitching look like in your career?" Is better phrase. Oh, okay. Um, I don't have a lot of stories about pitching because, for the most part, I did everything myself. I'm not going to say that I've never pitched something. It's probably more likely that I was in the middle of collaborating with somebody and we were kind of putting the notes together, and maybe it did or did not happen. Um, when and D can speak to this. I still have my Boot Hill books. Um, when I was a younger Jamar, I tried to I pitched some syndicated comic strip ideas and I sent them to all the syndicates and I got a bunch of rejection letters because that's what happens, especially back then. Well, I mean, I don't even, like I said, besides this new crop of amazing people that I've gotten to know over time, like D and Saheed and George Gant, you just were like just not. Nobody got a strip in the paper ever. But back, see, just to put a little sauce on this, um, my strip, and maybe I'll post some of those old because I just saw some of them over there. Some of my old strips, my samples, was about a teenage kid uh, doing teenage kid stuff. Trying to keep a girlfriend and eating Cool Whip from the Ready Whip from the can in the refrigerator. And one of my rejection strips says, "We already have a black comic strip." So yeah, that's pitching. But for the most part, everything I've always done has been on my own terms or myself. And I don't really have a great ROI on pitching. And I think probably from doing things that I think were probably so left of what everybody else was doing or didn't look like what everybody else does because I have some old samples where I was trying to draw image stuff. There's a lot of cross hatching, there's a lot of gritting teeth. That wasn't me. It was never me. But I tried it and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And I just kind of never looked back. But there's been times where I've, um, been in talks with other creators that I know, like, hey, we should do a thing. And we talk through the thing, and then some usually it dies on the vine somewhere. I pitched some things to some publishers, but a lot of it was kind of like I knew them already, and they're like, "Hey, man, you ever got anything?" And I'll go, "Cool, I'll send you some stuff on Monday." And then they go, So it's tough. Probably your best bet is to make sure you have a strong uh, log line, elevator pitch, character designs, a couple of samples of your storytelling. If you're penciling, inking it, coloring it, whatever, just make sure it's as good as you can make it at the time. Boot Hill was before Top Secret. Wow. No, I believe you. And I never had I could never find the actual box set. Somebody made a Xerox copy of the rules, and I still have it in a drawer somewhere. Jared D says, "Did you ever try James Bond?" No. Yeah, Top Secret was wonky too. Car Wars. Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot of that. There's a lot of crosshatching. It's funny just thinking about Ringo stuff, and Mike just was not a crosshatcher. His stuff was so clean. You could eat off it. Pause. So speaking of that, Suze, you're on deck. Let's do a Suze pose. I feel good about things. Thank you guys also for hanging out with me. This energy's weird. I don't know how hours are almost going by. We started a little late, and I still got a lot of coffee to go, so we'll keep it moving. Suze, I need your input. Are we chipping or are we dipping? Let me know, and then we'll do it. Pause. Oh, you know what? Speaking of car wars, there's a lot of people now uh who have like indie games. And they're almost like DIY games. There's like rule sets for tabletop, like skirmish games like Warhammer, where it's like, here are the rules. There's no models to buy. You use whatever you have already. And there's like a couple of zombie games like that that are really interesting. A lot of people have zombie minis from like the Walking Dead game and stuff like that. And that's really cool. And there's a game called Gaslands, which is like Mad Max. So what you do is you take Matchbox or Hot Wheels cars and you like kit bash them and turn them into these like Road Warrior looking things. Look it up. Look up Gaslands. And there's like Gaslands cars, and you'll just see people who are like doing these mods on these very tiny cars. Printing minis, yo, that's what's up. Shout out. Um, hold on. Let me see D's thing. Pause. Susan, and we'll do it. D says, I'll say it's pretty crazy how much a lot of deals can be swayed by having a large online presence. While King loves rosebuds, they were very familiar with me in the comic before we even started. So, yeah, they kind of need to know who you are. And again, I don't want to speak too much on the modern deal because I'm very far removed from how newspaper strip deals are these days, besides the strip artists that we've had on the show or I've talked to personally. So I wouldn't be the first person to ask about navigating those waters. But like I said, when I was actively trying, I didn't even I didn't even expect anybody to respond. That's the world that we were in. But online has made, I don't want to say even the playing field because that's not even true. I think it's made it more accessible for people to know who you are. And D is a hustler, and D knows how to put their stuff out into the universe so people see it. Which I kind of wish I had that back when I was going. I would have had a different road, but I'm really happy with where I am now. There you go, Bros. Model agnostic. Bring your own models. Eternity forever. Yo, what up? Good to see you. All right, you guys, we're dipping. You heard the lady. Let me get my assets together. Get my assets in order. Are you ready? I put my hand upon your chip. Then I dip, you dip, we dip. Yo, I made myself laugh. Yo, I can't breath. I can't breath. That's great. So Dom says, not waiting for permission from a publisher, just self-publish sounds like a. I mean, especially now, just do it. And I think what's good about self-publishing, especially now, is that you kind of learn how this stuff works. I can't stress how important that is. It just if you're just like you try to sell something to these guys and you're like, I don't know how any of this works. And then you you kind of give away a lot of control. And even with just doing a bunch of stuff yourself, you just kind of know yourself. You kind of just know how things work internally. And when they ask for things, you're not surprised. You gotta look it up. Like, well, what are the file specs? What's the bleed? What's the whatever? Do you want me to set this up in InDesign, or how do you want to receive the how, how do I uh, what do you call it, pre-flight this file for you? Like, if you have never done this stuff yourself, you don't know how any of that stuff works. And I think it's just knowledge is power. So you're in a good place. That was a good Sue's pose. Dee says that the comment isn't just for newspaper comics, but just anything creative in general. Social media has really made artists become influencers of sorts, always on the grind to be relevant. Case in point, you're looking at my face right now, right? Even though this isn't social media, it's a social experiment, it's a social project, right? So, I mean, again, and I'm just using my natural talents to get my platform across just in a different way, right? Um, and there's also like a lot of little mechanical wheels behind everything that makes this stuff happen. I'm being my natural self, presenting myself and my universe to you in a different way, right? It's a little bit of infotainment, right? It's a little bit of an infomercial. Speaking of that, you should consider joining my Patreon. See what I just did there? But it's my way of putting myself into the universe in different ways. So, it's even good for people to consider it other ways to get your message out there. It doesn't have to be me posting on Instagram every 5 seconds. You kind of you take your thing and make it work however you need to make it work. Yeah, Trinity, get on that. Jared says, weirdly, the actual mechanics of self-publishing and book design, etc., come naturally to me after a chat with Connolly, but after I have the product, I turn into a drooling idiot. That was like what we were saying on the show a little while ago. Um, that generally, when something goes wrong with your book that you're self-publishing, like you try to turn this thing into the printer, and they're like, I hope you got a proof. You get that proof back. It's like, why does everything look like it's Tales from the Dark Side? Everything's reversed, white and black. You did that. 9 times out of 10, you did that. I'm sorry. I'm burning the candle in 3 different places. Right? So it's just good for you to know how that stuff works. So you know how you set up the files the right way. You know, what happens, Dom, when you do an entire book and then the printer goes, I can't print this. Well, why not? It's 72 DPI. Wah wah. No, that's like when they do the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, and the guys and you're just like, "Du- du- 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 du." And like we all screw up, you know. I'm just saying, Jardy, it's just like different things you need to learn about getting this stuff done. Things are going to go wrong. Things get late. Things get lost. But it's also kind of to what Dee was saying. We also live in a world where you kind of need to do a lot yourself. I think something that a lot of people find surprising about like the hustling I do is that people just think like Scholastic is like behind it all. Like, no, they're my publisher and they're great, but they didn't say, "Hey, Jamar, you probably should really start a podcast." Like, this is just what I'm doing anyway, and it helps put more bloom on my rose. Pause. That I was already thinking in those directions. You know what I'm saying? So I've been in spaces where there's like, creatives or whatever who like to complain about their thing, about, oh, my agent sucks. Oh, he does this, blah, blah, blah. They're not promoting my stuff. You got to do that. All this stuff is super helpful and super extra when they, promote and you're on the cycle and they want to give you things. Please accept them and say yes and be gracious and go out there and knock it out the park. But also, you got to meet them more than halfway. You know what I'm saying? So wherever you wind up on your ladder, just remember that you still got to keep climbing the ladder. They're not gonna they're not gonna pull you up, right? So anyway, oh man, good night, everybody. Yeah, we mousing. Yeah, they got me, you guys. I really gotta we gotta start a new GoFundMe to get me a mouse. Where's the John at? I can't even find it. That's so deep. There you go. So yeah, you guys, that's kind of I clicked out of the chat. So yeah, this was kind of like the energy was weird tonight, but I appreciate you guys being here and appreciate you guys being a big part of the channel, a big part of the Jay and Jamar Nichols Network. I hope with all sincerity that you guys get something from what we bring. I'm not saying content, Shogun, out of what we bring to the internets as creatives who want to give back. I know a lot of creatives that will not give back. I know a lot of creatives that are so selfish, and they have the right to be. It's not in their nature to want to like get on camera and give you information. Why should they? What's in it for them? Or even like, what? You want me to what? I'm not what? I'm not doing that. I'd rather you kidding? I'm not doing that. Oh, Dakota, you're so sweet. Dakota says, I just generally like you as a person and like hanging out with you and all the other stuff. It's a huge bonus. Bonus! Thank you, Dakota. I expect nothing less from the Baroness of the Pacific Northwest. Thank you so much. I also like giving everybody nicknames. You can't get that anywhere else. What did I say one time? Oh, this is during the lockdown, and I was mad. I was in my feelings because nobody was coming to coffee break because there was a versus battle happening on Instagram, and I'm like, you kidding? You think Buster Rhymes is going to shout you out in the chat? You think Raekwon the chef is going to say, "Yo, what up, JRD?" It's not happening. We got to remember where our bread is buttered sometimes, you guys. But thank you for that, Dakota. It's really sweet. But yeah, it's interesting that JRD brought that credibility thing up. And again, like I think, I have plenty of doubts all the time. Um, imposter syndrome, I don't that voice isn't as loud as it used to be for me because I'm just kind of used to being in this air, but I don't take anything for granted. But I'm used to it and I kind of get it. And I know that this like I'm standing on a giant chessboard and I know that, anything could happen at any moment. So I want to make sure I'm playing a clean game and also that I'm making good moves, right? So, but yeah, I don't like that whole thing. Like, oh man, I hope people think I'm a real dude. Like, that's on you if you don't know my pedigree at this point. So, I was going to, man, we're already kind of going over, but I was going to talk about some Gen X stuff. But oh, maybe we'll wrap with this, guys. Check out this. I'm going to show you my mug, and I want you guys to tell me if you know what this is. I'll turn it this way. Try to get a. It's hard to do this backwards. Can you see that? Yo, who's that riding in that submarine? I'll give you guys a second to figure out what this is. This is a giant part of my childhood. On Pencil, we're always like, "You drew my childhood." I have a lot of things that live rent free in my head from when I was a kid, and also just being a part of that Gen X generation. I know it's going to get it in here somewhere where nobody is just quiet. Uh, where we were kind of privy to all of these kind of eras of stuff in syndication because like there was hardly any new stuff. It was a lot of old stuff, right? And I think that's part of the makeup of a lot of Gen Xers because we grew up with our parents' stuff and kind of our grandparents' stuff, and it all lived in the same space. And in an afternoon, I could watch. Nope, that's not it. I could watch Hogan's Heroes, McHale's Navy, Gilligan's Island, um, what you would call it, Andy Griffith show, and What's Happening in Different Strokes all in the same day. And those are totally from different eras of time, right? A lot of this stuff was in black and white. McHale's Navy was in black and white, or maybe out of black and white TV, right? And now it's kind of like what is here right now, and that kind of callback to the past isn't really there like it was when we were kids. So this is from Marine Boy. This was like an anime. Everybody remembers Speed Racer, but this stuff was happening at the same time. And this is Marine Boy's shuttle. It's a submarine, the P1 that his dudes Piper and Bolton drove. And Marine Boy was kind of like like the eco police. Like he would swim through the ocean, and he had gum that he would chew, and it would let him breathe underwater. He had a little electric boomerang that he would throw and like electrocute eels and shit. And he had a girlfriend who was a mermaid, and she rode a dolphin, and it was wild. And I love Marine Boy so much. I don't think that's a pause, but I'll put that in there anyway. Just look it up. It's really hard to watch now, but my mind was wide open for Marine Boy, and like the rest of the stuff I loved. Like I love Battle of the Planets. I love um, Speed Racer, and then kind of in the same veins like Ultraman and all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. But I found this little. This was from the model kit, and I had one of these P1 model kits. And if you look at my Leon stuff, there's a lot of design elements from the ships in Leon's mom's cave that kind of have that same aesthetic. Because I also love Thunderbirds, not the kid remake version, like the puppets. I love that stuff with the burning of 1,000 suns. And what I really loved about Team America World Police is that it's the Thunderbirds, and I laughed my ass off when we went to the movies to see that because I got it. I got that connection, and I think I went to see it with Manley and a couple of other people, and I was like, I wonder how many people have no idea that this is like riffing on the Thunderbirds. You know, it's just like why how would they know? They just talked about the puppet sex, and that was just like there's always got to be something stupid that people connect to. But yeah, Marine Boy. Oh wow, Captain Scarlet. What was the other one? There was like 4 or 5 Super Marionation ones. It was Captain Scarlet. I'm really familiar with Thunderbirds. The other stuff was kind of not in my orbit because my mother liked Thunderbirds, and I watched it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna wrap this up, you guys. It's been one of those nights. But real quick, shout out your favorite old school anime. Yes, we were all at the mercies with our mothers. Watch your programs, watch your stories. That's very true. So, all right, I think that's it for me, you guys. Let's say goodnight, John Boy. I got nothing left. We were all over the road with this episode. Do a barrel roll. So yeah, even if you look at Star, how did I forget Star Blazers? Star Blazers took up space in our minds. Love Starblaze. Starblazers is all there is. When Robotech, I told you about when Robotech started, and I remember and looked in the TV guide, and it said Robotech. I'm like, I don't know what Robotech is. I'm talking to the TV guide. I don't know what Robotech is. Um, what I think it said like Japanese cartoon about transforming robots. I was like, oh, word, say less. Guys, the first episode aired Sunday morning at 5:30 a.m. on like the UHF channel. I got up and and waited for that cartoon to come on, and it blew my mind. See, he knows what's up. These are like kid commitments. You couldn't wake up to go to school, but I gotta wake up to see G Force. That's real. You know, I hey yo, yeah, it's good stuff. But all that stuff's really hard to watch now. And I got the Speed Racer box set. I'm like, I did watch all of Star Blazers. I put that on in the studio and just like let that run. Same thing with Robotech. But Speed Racer is violent. Have you ever? There's one episode where Speed just like jumps out of his car, like these like goons tried to box him in on the road. He got out of his car and started karate kicking dudes, and then he picked up a Tommy gun and just like murdered all these people and then just got back in his car. But shout out to the Wachowski sisters who did that Speed Racer movie. There's some video essays saying that Speed Racer might be the most important film of the 20th century, 21st century. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly true. Like Speed Racer was out of this world. But yeah, watch Star Blazers. This stuff is really strong. A lot of great character development and pathos in it. Guys, I went too long. Thank you guys so much. Let's get out of here. Let's say goodnight, John Boy. I love you guys the most. Thank you so much. And let's bring this horse in. You've been watching Coffee Break with Jay. That's right, tell him that. Oh, thank you, D. Appreciate you. Yo, Michael, what's up, man? Where you been hiding all night? Good to see you, brother. You've been watching Coffee Break with JM with your boy JM. Guys, I go by many names. Besides Philadelphia's favorite son, they also call me Yawny Carson because I'm tired. That's my secret cap. I'm always tired. That was great. That was great. With the glasses crooked. Uh, what was the other one? Philly Donahue. Where's Ronaldo? I'm the administrator of this of this facility. And the captain of this starship, Jean-Luc Picard. There are four Johns. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with your boy JN, and we chopped it up into a fine dice. Uh, and I hung out with my caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines. Friends of regulars, not decaf. And I gotta put in another pitch, guys. We're having so much fun over on my Patreon. The P and Dubs will tell you. We hang out in the community chat, and we just like talk about furniture or like really bad commercials. And it's not about me. It's not about me, but it's about us. It's about community. Consider joining today. Why don't you? And also, you watch me drink a cup of coffee and run my mouth. Now that I'm out of coffee, somebody wake up Hicks. Parting is such sweet sorrow. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.